How on earth do you reboot Doctor Who on television after a 14-year break? Let's take a look at the creative duo at the heart of the 2005 reboot, showrunner Russell T Davies, RTD, and composer Murray Gold. RTD is more interested in human beings than he is in anything else. In the midst of the show's ever-growing collection of aliens and strange worlds and mythology, for RTD it always needs to come back to the human race. Here's part of his original pitch for the first series of New Who. If the Zogs on planet Zog are having trouble with the Zog monster, who gives a toss? But if a human colony on the planet Zog is in trouble, a last outpost of humanity fighting to survive, then I'm interested. Every story somehow should come back to Earth, to humanity, its ancestors, and its descendants. It's there in the first shot of his first episode, planet Earth, hanging in space. This is about us. For the largely British audience, things become even more familiar as the sights of London loom into view. Murray Gold makes a splash with his first music cue for the series, Westminster Bridge, inspired by the 1990 Pixies cover of Cecilia Ann by the Surftones. Its driving guitar riff is contemporary yet nostalgic. We meet the new companion before we meet the new Doctor. Her name is Rose Tyler. She's from the present day and she works in a shop. She is an ordinary person who is about to be plunged into an extraordinary situation. The shop mannequins come to life, and then we meet the new Doctor, played by Christopher Eccleston, a very different man to his previous 8 incarnations. He's brusque, energetic, down to earth, and northern. Every episode of Series 1 takes place either on Earth or in Earth orbit. The Doctor's home planet gets very little mention, but his reluctance to discuss his past only draws more attention to him. This is a man with baggage, the last of the Time Lords, plagued with regrets. Dalek was written by Robert Shearman, and it's a crucial moment in the series. For Paul, my YouTube partner in crime, it was in this episode that the reboot found its feet.
I think it took me until the Dalek episode that I was like, oh yeah, this is Doctor Who now. At the beginning I was a bit like, oh man, there's like farting aliens and like, right, you know, plastic Mickey's head and stuff, you know, like what is going on here?
There's something terrifying about this lone Dalek, capable of unprecedented destruction. The Doctor's hatred for his arch-nemesis is tangible, fueled by a long history to which Rose Tyler is oblivious. The height of this Dalek was chosen such that its eye would be level with the eyes of actress Billie Piper. She forms a bond with this creature, even wanting to show it mercy after its killing spree. This is a recurring theme in the modern era. The Doctor always has something to learn from his human companions. The companions are advocates for the audience. They are like us. They are our way into the Doctor's strange lifestyle. And they can speak up for humanity whenever the Doctor shows signs of losing his own. Just to let you know, there'll be some pretty big spoilers for the RTD era going forwards. At the end of Series 1, the 9th Doctor dies to save Rose, regenerating into the 10th Doctor, David Tennant. But at the end of Series 2, Rose is whisked into a parallel universe, and the Doctor finds himself unable to save her. They become separated across the void. It's a gut-wrenching finale, and an iconic music cue from Murray Gold. When asked, do you have a favourite piece you have composed for Doctor Who, he said this.
Might be Doomsday, actually. I mean, in that there is a fan base, you know, that was the one that sort of made people's ears prick up a little bit, I think.
The repeated double high C piano note on beats 1 and 3 seems to pierce your soul each time it hits, and the 25-bar long melody performed by solo vocalist Melanie Pappenheim glides eerily over the accompaniment. Alongside his ability to write music which moves you to tears, Murray Gold is a master of writing leitmotifs, themes which become associated with particular places, situations, and people.
8, 7, 6.
In fact, he wrote a theme for each major companion in the RTD era, a practice he continued after RTD left and Steven Moffat took over. This allows him to invoke the memory of any companion at any time, just with a few notes. The music never forgets a companion, and neither does the Doctor. In Series 3, Martha falls for him, but he hasn't moved on from Rose. Series 4 makes a refreshing change with its lack of romance between the Doctor and Donna, but then Rose comes back. For better or worse, the RTD era is haunted by its companions. They give the show an almost melodramatic, soap opera feel, which isn't to everyone's taste, but the emotions hit really hard. Because every time, one way or another, the Doctor loses them. All of them. The popularity of David Tennant's Doctor meant that RTD knew it would be hard for us to say goodbye to him. And in Series 4 and the subsequent specials, he began to ask the question, what if the Doctor felt the same way? What if the Doctor became attached to a particular form? What if he became arrogant? In the fires of Pompeii, Donna begs him to rescue a Roman family from the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. At first he resists. History must take its course, but she convinces him just one family. Can he break the rules and get away with it? How does he balance his compassion with responsible stewardship of the space-time continuum? These are perpetual questions in Doctor Who. Travelling alone in the specials with few people to challenge him or humanise him, he develops something of a god complex. In the waters of Mars, he breaks a fixed point in time in order to save the crew.
For a long time now, I thought I was just a survivor, but I'm not. I'm the winner. That's who I am. The Time Lord victorious.
The power, it seems, has gone to his head. But there's something bubbling underneath, a prophecy.
Your song is ending, sir.
What do you mean?
It is returning through the dark. He will knock 4 times.
His song is coming to an end, and he's scared. He doesn't want to die. Even though he's a Time Lord, even though he can regenerate, he doesn't want to. RTD really presses into this. Regeneration is agony. It means dying a death to the person he is and emerging someone new. It's coming for him.
Even if I change, it feels like dying. Everything I am dies. Some new man goes sauntering away. And I'm dead.
He rages against the prophecy. He does everything he can to remain David Tennant. He even manages to regenerate into himself after being shot by a Dalek with the help of his severed hand. He survives the Master breaking the time lock on the Time War and bringing back Gallifrey. But then, he hears the prophesied 4 knocks, signifying his imminent death. But they don't come from an enemy. They come from a dear friend. Wilfred is trapped, and the Doctor must die to set him free. At this point he gives, to my mind, one of the greatest monologues in New Who. In just a few minutes the Doctor goes through a massive transformation. First he defaults to some technobabble, the way he always does, describing the radiation level of the machine. Then he boils with anger. He could have done so much more. After everything he's been through, this is what happens. This is how he dies.
Oh really, just leave me. I'm an old man, Doctor. I've had my time.
But he doesn't seem to give that option much thought. You see his entire countenance shift, and then...
Wilfred, it's my honour.
Of course he saves him. Of course he does. In that moment, you are seeing the death of the arrogant Time Lord Victorious. He dies in that moment. And the Doctor is back. And then we have the extended farewells, and the Doctor reminding us one last time,
I don't want to go.
It's been said of RTD that he struggles to part with his creations. He lingers on the goodbyes. Some would say that in this scene he is literally taking a flamethrower to the show on his way out. It is, however, accompanied by a beautiful piece of choral music, sung in Latin, Vale Decem, which means farewell 10.
This song is ending, but the story never ends.
It transitions seamlessly into the leitmotif for the Doctor, which Murray Gold had been using since Series 1. Overwrought farewells aside, this is the era that introduced me to Doctor Who, and for me it will always be a golden age in the show's history. Needless to say, I am very excited about the return of RTD and Murray Gold for the 60th anniversary specials, not to mention David Tennant, Catherine Tate, and the late Bernard Cribbins. I think it's going to be very poignant. So why not join us, myself and Paul, on the Shallow Proclamation. We'll be watching and reflecting on the 60th anniversary specials as soon as they come out, along with all the other Doctor Who episodes. Click the subscribe button below to stay in the loop. Oh, and one other thing, if you enjoyed this video, the impact of music in film and TV is a real passion of mine, and on my personal channel, Stir and Fry, I've made videos about some of the most iconic director-composer duos, from Steven Spielberg and John Williams to Christopher Nolan and Hans Zimmer. I've also been making videos about the theology of horror films, which is quite a niche subject, but a fascinating one. Links in the description if any of that is of interest to you. Anyway, I'm Thomas, you've been watching the Shallow Proclamation. See you soon.